It's just my degree of information for this job has been minimal. So I've done what I've needed to do legally, but job-wise, I'm not actually too sure who it's actually for.
Do you know what the film's about?
No.
You know it's an interactive feature.
No.
What do you think about the idea of an interactive feature film?
It sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool.
Take one, a camera mark.
Yeah.
What's the biggest decision you've had to make in your life?
Biggest decision?
The most important decision I made in my life?
The biggest decision.
Oh my God.
Biggest decision I've ever made in my life.
Would you like to know?
My biggest decision is probably deciding to actually be myself.
To get married to my nice wife.
Become a runner.
To do a stand-up comedy course.
Oh, it's just the usual, whether or not to fall in love with somebody.
I don't think I'm old enough to have made any very profound decisions yet.
That's such a difficult question.
Biggest decision I think was going to drama school. Yeah.
That's a big decision. I left one man for another, and it worked out well. Although it was terrible at first.
Oh, I don't know. I think probably affairs of the heart are probably the biggest choices that you have.
Joining the army at 15.
Coming to England.
1961.
From a sunny country to a country that I've known much about. You alright, my friend? I've got a bacon roll if you want it. That's the last one. Everything else is finished.
Sorry?
That's it.
Ignore that.
Yeah.
Nej, mhux mer intellektuell.
We could swap roles.
Nej.
What is the late shift?
It's one for you.
Was ist das Neue, was ist das Spezielle an diesem Filmkonzept? Wir erzählen eine Geschichte interaktiv, die Leute können mitentscheiden.
I think there are lots of big decisions that I make all the time. Life's full of decisions, right?
We're all formed from many small decisions which go into making up who you are. And I think if life was always about big decisions, it'd be a lot more black and white, when in fact it's actually much more grey.
It's a film about choice and probability and the effect of your decisions. And if you make a film about choice, why not give the audience a choice?
It's way too close, yeah. And that's probably too close as well.
Und es gab schon interaktive Filme. Das Neue an unserem System ist, dass der Film nie anhält, dass er immer läuft.
Look at me. Look at me. You can't not decide, okay? You have to do something.
It's an everyday guy, to a certain extent. He's quite brilliant in his own way, though, but it's kind of a normal guy who's thrown into an extraordinary situation, and it's one hell of a night. And I think the uniqueness of it comes from the choices.
Ready? Go. Alert the guards or let this play out. I might not get another chance.
Okay, Matt, go.
A driving plot that's like, I don't know, Dostoevsky, but with free will.
Stop right there, sir. This is a restricted area.
I always liked the idea of watching a movie and influencing it in a new way.
I was looking for the toilet.
No, you wouldn't have come down here unless you meant to.
So we wanted to sort of bring the mechanics of real life into film.
The audience is used to just see what characters do and live with the consequences, and now you have to live with the consequences as the audience.
I like the idea of choosing what the main character does, all the different decisions, because then you kind of put yourself into it, like, oh, would you trust, like one of the first ones, the pretty girl with the keys, or would you get into a fight with drunk people?
Combination, I think, between having the playfulness of a game, but having the driving plot of a film. And that hasn't been done before, I don't think. That's what's exciting.
It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure game book, but in a film format.
So my first thought was, holy shit, how is this possible?
I panicked at the beginning when I was looking through the script because I don't know if you've seen it. It's a fucking flowchart. It's 900 pages of flowcharts.
This was then sort of the final script that we had, the 13 episodes.
This is where we defined all of the links that had to make sense. Like if you made a decision here to disagree with someone, then we would set the variable here, and then later on we would be sure that, okay, we'd set the variable here, so we need to ask at that point later on so that that's all connected. There was a lot of research happening at that time, more on the meta levels of, okay, but what is multi-optional storytelling and what do we want it to be?
There's deep moral strand underneath the whole film, and there's an option several times in the film to fight or not fight. Always choosing to fight, while it might be more entertaining, it ends up in a worse result for Matt. And like the situation at the Tube, you choose to help someone and it ends up benefiting you, even in that small way.
Excuse me, this train...
Random variables. Never underestimate the human factor.
Bond Street?
Bond Street, it's on the other platform now.
Thank you.
Is that a technology you made yourself, or is it a kind of software you bought?
No, we developed it from scratch. We have this startup company, it's called Control Movie.
Please, you have to trust me.
Trust you? Oh, I'm sorry, am I hearing you right now?
We have to be very honest with the audience. If they take decisions, they have to have consequences, they have to be relevant.
Please, just tell me what I have to do to get you to agree.
Nice. Please, thank you.
My partner's friends on the board. You probably managed to bring it out tonight.
So we could have the bowl already? Is this... That's only if I tortured him, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I didn't torture him in this round.
You'll be entering a scene and you could have come from multiple different places. So I go and speak to Sebastian on his hospital bed, and I can either have been tortured, or I could have left Mei Ling in a tunnel and got into a fist fight, or been strangled, and there's all these different things.
So that's the one, and the other one would be 1073-2.
So this one is where they've won, as it were.
Yeah, it's really the happiest endings in terms of the main protagonists.
So we have to say to the actors, so this is the strand where you haven't made the phone call, and so he doesn't, so you don't know that he knows that he's been to hospital and visited the guy who tried to steal your bowl for you. And I can see by your face that you don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't really even know what I'm talking about. Somehow this has been the language that we've been talking for the last 8 weeks.
What's difficult is to keep track of the story, know where you are at all times. For the actors, I think it's especially demanding. It's also, that you have all these different options and strands and variations of the story.
This is another parallel universe.
It's a parallel universe. It's basically his night's been different.
Right.
Different paths have led him to you.
It's always an experiment. You never know what will happen. But we're not in a laboratory doing an experiment. We're in real life, trying to bring our adventure to a success.
Well then, so, thank you.
Okay. Is principal photography complete?
Oh, come on.
It's been a long journey.
Thank you.
It's been mad. When we started working on this, the first technicians we asked to program this, they said this is not possible. When we tried to finance this film, a lot of people said this is not possible, including the Swiss Film Council. When we started working out schedules with our limited budget we had, a lot of people said this is not possible. But all of us, this family here, has made it possible. And that proves one thing, and that's what's possible and what's not possible is actually your choice. So thanks very much for choosing to make it possible. Thanks very much. Every single breath you take is a decision. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you don't say is a decision, essentially, and that's what shapes you all the time. You can't refuse that process. And decisions are based on a certain mindset, on a belief system, and I think That's what's to be challenged, I suppose.
It's just for tonight. I'll be back before 2. Before 1?
It's either a minor decision, which probably realistically doesn't have a big impact on your life. You go, am I going to take this road left or am I going to go right? And I'm trying to get to the same place anyway. Not a big decision.
I want to know why you need the car.
It might not necessarily seem like a big decision until actually it reaches its conclusion. So every tiny little decision might actually end up leading to something much bigger.